Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the latest broadcast. This one is Where We Go One. We go all about love, Frontlines. And I just started off with a little bit of different music selection. This is basically, on this YouTube channel is Smith Records. And if you care to look and subscribe to their channel, that would be good too. If you're looking for copyright-free music. So, welcome to the latest, and this is June 2nd, 2019, and we're covering, basically the different areas that are that we need to take on in regards to defeating the cabal, defeating the deep state. We're QAnon kind of centered. We look for the areas in which we can participate. And to start off with today, I'm going to actually point out something that I just did today. This is 8chan. This is the place from which QAnon actually posts. So Q does all of his posting here and only here. Although I do reference the site for Q posts from qmap.pub. And the difference is that that's a third party that's taking the information from here and organizing it in a little bit better way so that it's easier, and also filtering out a lot of the things that are, let's just say, adult content that may not be suitable for everybody to view. So, and now this is definitely adult content from one standpoint. This post I posted here is I created a whole new bread thread. I just did this just before the show. That means that people are able to see this. And what it is I'm actually posting the information from the Speak Up with Tank with Michelle Walker about the H trafficking and the bad situation with the mortgage electronic registration system, where they're using it to basically use people as an asset and what comes from that. So anyway, I just posted this just to get the word out into a place where it's not going to be muted. Right? And I'm going to be expanding on this. So I would ask you all to participate here, make comments here. I know it's a little bit of an unusual place, and there's places where you can actually make replies to this here, Now, this actual thread that I have put up here, you can find with the link that I actually already posted in the wwg1wga.love Telegram group, which is in the information down below. So you can grab the link from there. I will go ahead and add this link to the bottom of the description. I'll actually can add it into the comment section right now. Oh, that's not what I want to see. I'll go back this way. There we go. See if I can have it pop up here for making comments. There we go. Again, I put this in the comments. Oh, is that the right one? Nope, but it's okay. I'll go back and grab it again. I highlighted, but I didn't copy it. All right, so I posted that there. Now, I'll try it in the super chat, but I don't know if it'll come across correctly. It looks like it did. All right. So I appreciate everyone for joining in the super chat. This is, I think, one of those fronts that we have to take on. But that's not the point of today's broadcast. Today, I want to basically focus on the impeachment trap that the Democrats are falling into. The more that I'm watching what's going on, the more it seems like, even Nancy said it, it looks like Trump wants to be impeached. There may be part of the plan to actually cause the Democrats to do the impeachment. There's so much evidence that there has not been a crime. There's no obstruction, but this loud drumbeat from the Democrats is causing, Nancy Pelosi to try and do a little bit of dancing. She wants the infrastructure money, $2 trillion. This seems to be another. Every time this happens at the White House, where Nancy and Chuck show up, I suspect that there's some ulterior motive behind this that Trump has put into play, and Q has plans. So when she and Chuck went there, and she came out of that meeting so enthusiastic about this $2 trillion, right? All of that disappeared by the next day, right? She was off kilter and upset. Why? Because Trump made her upset again. He's poking her, right? He's basically getting reactions to show that she is unstable. And while she keeps pointing at him and saying, "Oh, he's unstable," right? But it's not showing up that way. The optics are not apparent there. So on the one hand, Nancy wants the infrastructure money, but she also has to deal with her base, the far left base that is dominating her party and is controlling the House, and is saying they want to have impeachment. But if they go down that road, and Nancy knows this very well, she can't win it. They can't win the impeachment battle. She'd rather keep it an issue all the way up to the election, right? And say, "Oh, we have to impeach him. We have to actually get rid of the senators, right, that are Republican in the Senate, so that we actually can win the impeachment." She wants to go there, knowing that Trump will win. So it looks to me that this continued digging at Nancy is to get her to be upset all the time and to want to impeach him. The other part of this is that Mueller came out with his press conference, and he basically totally upset the apple cart for her. He armed the left wing of her party of Nancy's party to want impeachment. So she's now being drawn into it, right? She knows it's a bad thing, but she's being drawn into it. Is it a setup? Are they really doing this to show the extremes of the far left, to see how crazy and off the world that they actually are acting? I think that's actually what's going on here. Part of this elaborate QAnon post being, the QAnon plan that's been put out there. Okay, I'm going to show a couple of things here. I have queued up. So, okay, we covered that one. So this is Nancy Pelosi, right? And this is about 7 minutes of her before she was actually going to be going in to meet with Trump.
By our chairs. Would you believe that it's important to follow the facts? We believe that no one is above the law, including the President of the United States, and we believe that the President of the United States is engaged in a cover-up.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi with some blunt and tough talk for President Trump after a meeting of House Democrats specifically focused on impeachment. Those comments later caused the president to walk out of an infrastructure meeting with the Speaker and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer just minutes after it began. The president vowing not to work with Democrats until their investigations into him end. Democratic Congressman Rowe Qanon is joining us now. He sits.
Anyway, so that was the main point. This happened just before going in, and of course Trump said, "Get out of here." You basically say that I'm doing a cover up, and you come into this and tell me that that's what, and then you come to the infrastructure meeting and expect me to just work with you as if you didn't say anything. That kind of doublespeak doesn't work with Trump. So here we go. Now, this is actually Nancy when she was actually stammering through the press conference after Trump pulled back.
It's his personal and political interest, not the public interest. Yesterday, as you know, Democrats went to the White House prepared to offer the president the opportunity to launch an historic infrastructure initiative. We had met 3 weeks before. The idea that and it was a good positive meeting about how we built the infrastructure of our country, roads, bridges, mass transit, broadband in rural areas and in underserved urban areas as well, water systems, both wastewater and safe, clean drinking water, infrastructure for our satellites so that our technology works here. For all of these things, we were optimistic. We also were hoping for housing and school construction as a further part of the conversation. But the question is, how was it paid for? And the president was the plan was, as we agreed at the meeting 3 weeks ago, the president was to present his proposals at yesterday's meeting. Well, everyone started sending signals that he might not be ready or interested. The night before, he sent us a letter to Chuck Schumer and to me saying that he doesn't want to do infrastructure until we do the U.S., Mexico, Canada. If that's not the accurate character, some people call it after NAFTA, some call it NAFTA 2.0, but anyway, that trade agreement, and that was a strange juxtaposition. But nonetheless, the next day, you know what happened. I think what happened, he says it's because of cover-up, and I know that strikes a chord with him, and he's afraid of cover-up, but afraid of being accused of cover-up. But I really think that what he knew the one court decision was getting into territory that he did not want touched, and they did not allow the Mueller investigation to go into the president's personal finances. So Mazur was a setback for him, and then he must have known the Deutsche Bank decision would be consistent, but in any event, to inoculate against its presentation, he pulled a stunt. Now, I truly believe that the president has a bag of tricks, and the White House has a bag of tricks that they save for certain occasions. They don't necessarily apply to the occasion, but they're a distraction, which is his master of distraction. We will all agree on that. That's something he does well, to distract from problems that he has. He tries to change the subject. And while he tried to say it's because I said cover up, we've been saying cover up for a while. And our 9 o'clock meeting was a meeting we have anyway. So it had nothing to do with him. But I think what really got to him was these court cases and the fact that the House Democratic caucus is not on a path to impeachment. And that's where he wants us to be. But the president's priority is.
So, here's her, stammering through a press conference. Now, there's more to it, actually. The funny thing is, I had this logged, and looks like it is a shorter version than the one that that I was intending on show, but that's okay. We'll continue on. This one right here is really CNN talking about a completely different video, all right, and saying that it was doctored, right? And so and it probably was what they're showing us here. So let's just take a look.
Has been made. It's been viewed millions of times on the internet, but it's not real. It's fake. We're going to show you the real one first, and then the fake one. Watch this.
And then he had a press conference in the Rose Garden with all this sort of visuals that obviously were planned long before. And then he had a press conference in the Rose Garden with all this sort of visuals that obviously were planned long before.
Right? You see the difference? That fake video is still circulating all over social media, even though YouTube has taken it down. Another carefully edited.
Yeah, and this one right here also is the one we were looking at that actually is disappeared. So it looks like there's some scrubbing of the internet happening. Lovely how they can do that, right? So anyway, so Nancy is basically off center, right? And then what happens is we get Mueller press conference making the impeachment tightrope tougher for Democrats to walk on. So the special counsel just upped the pressure on those in the party who think impeaching Trump is politically ill-advised, right? And that's Nancy. She knows that it's a bad road to go down because they can't win. There's no impeachable offense. Bob Mueller decided to shoot the town before he rode off into the sunset. It's fair enough to observe that in the short but explosive speech delivered at the Justice Department this morning, the special counsel did not say anything that wasn't already set forth in his report, a point of being emphasized by the White House. The sprawling report, 448 pages long, however, in his 9-minute address, Mueller quite cautiously highlighted the portions of the report that fueled the Democrats' call for impeachment. So, and it goes on. And this was actually from the National Review, if you want to look up this article. Actually, I'll copy that and I'll paste that in the Where We Go One We Go All.love Telegram group. So in case you want to grab it, you can grab it from there. Is this the next one? Well, okay. Well, I guess this pretty much covers it. We'll go back here. So now Nancy is having a bit of a problem, right? Because this Mueller tactic of coming out here and arming the Democrats to say, well, there was something there. He would have gone after the president if the law allowed him. In essence, is what he was saying. Now, of course, Bill Barr came out after that and said that wasn't the case, and he could have made that judgment if he wanted to, right? And Mueller didn't, but Barr went ahead and did, and they looked at it and they evaluated. So anyway, this just set the stage. So what I have queued up here behind me is Nancy Pelosi at the Commonwealth Club speaking about this. And I want to point out before I turn it on, is that she's wearing her staff of power. The one that she wore while she was the Black Dragon. Now the question is she the Black Dragon again? Wearing her Roman legion staff of power. This is actually coming from Red Pill 78, just from 2 days ago.
Our House Democrats, they've been very, shall we say, conscientious about how they've reached their decisions, and I think it's like 35 of them out of 238, maybe it's 38 of them out of 238 have said that they wanted to be outspoken on impeachment. Many of them are reflecting their views as well as those of their constituents. Many constituents want to impeach the president, but we want to do what is right and what gets results. What gets results. And we have to remember, so yes, there are some, and the press makes more of a fuss about the 38 than the 200 who are over half of the Congress, after half of the Democrats in the House sit on one of these 6 committees. So they're all on a path of finding more information. Just to recall, many people were not born then, but during the what would not become impeachment, but the impeachment investigation of Richard Nixon, that took months and months of a Senate committee that was solely dedicated to researching impeachment before they then decided to have articles of impeachment come from the House, which were never executed because the House and Senate agreed. It was a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. We have a different scenario now. So the case has to be very compelling to the American people. So we are legislating, and wish the press would cover more of that. Thank you, Gloria, for pointing out some of the bills that we have passed and sent to the Senate about gun safety, women's rights, equal pay for equal work, Violence Against Women Act, gun safety, the list goes on, climate action now, the list goes on. But in any event, we're legislating, we're investigating, and we are litigating. And we're going to, as we go down the path, make a decision based on the strongest possible case to get the best results for the American people. And the action taken by the special counsel today, I commend him for the work that they did to present the facts. Now we have to get it unredacted for the public, but nonetheless, and for the Congress, by the way. They'll say to me, we'll show you. And I say, that's not it. We want the American people to know. You're going to show me, and then I'm bound by classified rules of the House not to tell anybody. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But in any event, I think that everybody wants justice. Everybody wants the president to be held accountable in the most serious way, and everybody believes, I'm talking on the Democratic side, that no one is above the law, especially the President of the United States.
Mary, so she repeats that, no one is above the law. So she's again pulling back her base because she knows what's going to happen. She's laying out the statistics and say, yeah, there's a group inside her party that is dedicated towards getting him impeached. I think she said 38. So that is really not going to hold up, right? Just because they're ravenous, it's not going to hold up. But this push to get her to impeach is there, and she's fighting it. So, but she has the press pushing it, which they have to, right? Because they want to keep this as an issue going into the election period. And she's got her base, now revved up to do it, and even threatening to remove her. So here's a question: why did Mueller do this if Nancy didn't want it? Because he could have remained silent. There was no reason for him to come out and do this. Really, some people say, well, he just didn't. He wanted to make sure that they knew that he didn't want to come to Congress and make a statement. under subpoena if he must, but he's just going to read the report. Go to page 252, and that's your answer. And that's what he'll end up doing if they bring him in, because he doesn't want to answer these questions as to, like, well, when did you figure out that there was no evidence? Was it after the first FISA, the second FISA, the third, the fourth? When exactly did you go ahead and know that you should not proceed because there's no probable cause? So what is the reason? So if you recall, Mueller had a meeting with Trump. Now, Mueller was the FBI director, and he came for a meeting to speak with Trump about becoming the FBI director, and continuing to be in that position. Now, it's been made very apparent by a lot of people saying, well, he couldn't have that job anymore. He term limited out, like he wasn't actually allowed to continue. So why was the meeting held? And the other thing is, why did it last 6 hours? So he can't have the job, but he comes for that reason. It lasts for 6 hours. And how long does it basically take for you to sit down with the president and say, well, I like the job of FBI director, I'd like to continue, and Trump say, no, you can't do it, you already term limited out. How long does that take? 6 hours? Or was there something else going on in that meeting? Now, this is definitely all speculation. What may have happened in that meeting? Now, we know Mueller is in a lot of trouble, right? So would he have become a gray hat? There's a lot of conversation in QAnon about that. Did he flip? In other words, go forth with this plan, right, to give the Democrats this investigation that they so desperately wanted, and to keep it rolling to the time and place that they were ready to proceed to clean out and drain the swamp on the offense. Now, on the defense side, what they've been doing is removing people from the Department of Justice, the FBI, even the CIA. People have been removed, and they have now not in those positions of power, so can't influence or protect or blockade anymore. So now it's not complete, right? Because they can only do so much. So what they needed was to get Barr into position, and then now getting him to empower him with the ability to declassify information from the other agencies, something never done before, is giving him superpowers. So why does Mueller come out at this time? It looks to me like it was really to continue to push this impeachment agenda, to basically push Nancy into a stammering position. Even when you're listening to her here, even with her staff of power a brooch that she was wearing, she still had some stammering along, right? So she is trying to get her footing, because she's trying to pull back these people from pushing this idea of impeachment. But the mainstream media is rabid with it. They're going on, and they're trying to protect her. After all, the stammering video where she actually was stammering, and it's obviously has been scrubbed. I had that video queued, and now that section of the tape is now gone. It ended. I think it's about half the length as it used to be. So they're scrubbing things from the internet, right? So this is an ongoing problem for the deep state, right? Because so many people videotape, like I just did, things that have happened, and it's hard to find it, right? Because there's no connection in a file with a name and something that happened, that they can get that get all that information. It's too widespread, so a very difficult task for them to do. So anyway, so this is this looks to me as though they're pushing Nancy into this position, and that they really want her to go forward with the impeachment, right? Because it's just going to end up badly for the whole Democratic Party, and that's what they want. This is the long game. It's not the short game. It's not a 4-year election, and it's not an 8-year election. This is a gambit for the entire planet, and it's not about just America. It's about the deep state across the planet. All of the countries have a deep state. And, you know, we can see what happened. We talked about this yesterday, where you now have the Prime Minister of Japan on board and posting with QAnon, right? In with the Q puzzles. And you have Kim Jong-un even piping up and saying, I want in the club. And he did some tweets out there to actually, you know, troll Joe Biden. So, you know, basically lining up his statements with Trump, right? Saying whose side he's on, right? And then we hear about the executions of particular people in North Korea. I don't know. I mentioned this yesterday. It was just something that I was hearing, and then it came out in the news yesterday that there were individuals that were eliminated for, I guess, these missile attacks. And now we also have more POW remains, or I'm sorry, more people in our remains. That's a different story. But more people being released from North Korea. So we can see that this battle is international, and we're winning. We're picking up people coming to the side of QAnon, the yellow vests, the Brexit. We have this momentum that's happening. So, you know, we're in a good place. We just need to step it up, and that's like, you know, like I said, I put out that post on the Q boards to help this particular information get out there that Tank was covering with Michelle Walker yesterday. And I think that the more that we do along these lines, copy and paste these links, share these links, get this information out, it helps. Please subscribe. It helps. Give a thumbs up. It helps. You know, the positive comments. This all helps. Participate in the online super chat. Please, and keep your language tame. So, Jim Bob, he was in he was in the Where We Go All.Love Telegram group, and not watching the way he's speaking. And I want to keep a relatively, you know, clean environment for this. We don't need to, you know, cast this type of language out there. I don't use it, you know, though I understand why people do use it, but we need to keep that under wraps. So, okay, with that, that's what I wanted to cover for the day. Now I know that Tank will be having another. He's on his broadcast, and we're scheduled at basically an hour from now. So we'll be coming back at that point. I will go through the chat just before right now, just to see if there's any questions, and if anyone would like to participate. I will go ahead and post the link in the Where We Go All.Love Telegram group. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's very interesting. All right. So anyway, I posted it there. Let me go ahead and get back to our chat here. It's loading up. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Okay, here we go. Cold War report: the post-carbon age energy hoax explained. Okay. Well, Cold War report was always funny a while back, but I stopped because it's just so tired. Nancy means grace, so I commend the wind of grace to knock her down. All right. No one in Congress or the House is drug tested. How can that be? Well, because they show up positive. I don't know that, but just joking around. Okay, let's see. And remember, if you have a question, please put the Q and then your question. You don't have to type out question. It's easier for me to spot the Q, and I won't scroll past it too much. Yeah. Da, da, da. Nate, powerful surge with your frequency. Aloha, everyone. So y'all all chimed in. Okay. I heard Thomas today on Lucid Dreamer saying about Corey Good and David Wilcock, but he doesn't ever give links in the description box to look up his shows to what he's talking about. Didn't even know any of. Well, what I'll do is I will go ahead and add to Thomas's links to my descriptions. I have a common description box, that I fill in below. I'll go ahead and add his website and how you can find his podcasts that you can listen to what he has to say. And he has a Thursday show, and you can listen to the most recent shows, and also has the shows with Kim. So I'll go ahead and do that. So look, I'll try and add it to the bottom of this one as well. Okay, and then about Corey going to wanted to listen to his pastures, but yeah, I didn't know how to. Okay, I'll get you there. Okay. It's all about keeping Americans distracted from the hammer. Yes, remember, we have covered this quite often. I have, I think, 4 shows listed on the hammer. Even talking about another hammer trading program. Kind of if you take the hammer trading program, that document, the hammer project that's listed on the Speak project, and you read it or go through the videos that I put out there, and I read through what that's all about. That trading program is how system creates money, how cash is multiplied. And then we also talked about Tank saying that this week, this previous week, that they were, all the banks were accessing all their excess liquidity to the Fed, and they turn around and ramp it up and send it back out. But of course, it didn't come back out. So they were continuing to squeeze the excess out of the economy. Inadvertently, maybe, or maybe on purpose, could be. But they weren't able to trade it up because they have no. It was all based on fake money, right? So 80% of the money out there are these super notes, the allocation numbers that were used to create the cash the first time have been reused again and again, and that means it's counterfeit. So, but this hammer program that we were talking about is the spying program that was put in place by Obama with Clapper and Brennan, basically overseeing this. And the whistleblower, the guy who developed the system that was for foreign intelligence gathering, blew the whistle on it. And this information is going to come out. It was announced on Dave Janda's Operation Freedom podcast that he does. And then the day after that, the whole Russian collusion investigation started on Trump. That was the cover-up. The cover-up, the hammer. So a lot of good information we're putting out here. So, all right. So let's see. Diana saying the blue chicken people are not worth looking at because they may not be the original people, says Thomas. Yeah. Yes, the blue chickens, as opposed, I when I first heard that from Corey Good and Dave Wilcox about the blue avians, that's what we're referring to, blue chicken people, the blue avians. I do recall that there were hieroglyphics in Egypt about these blue, the kind of a bluish colored, bird-headed individuals, right, that were there. Now, it wasn't about them having wings so much because they had human type bodies, but very long beaks and bird heads. And I remember there were blue ones. So I thought that was like something that I brought together, but that wasn't the pictures that were being shown by Corey's interpretation and the sketches, the artist sketches of them. They looked quite different. I noted that. Okay, let's see. What else do we have to go on? All right. All right. Other than more talk about the blue avians, which I really don't want to get too much because I don't know too much about that. I know that I always appreciated when David Wilcox and Corey Good were speaking about this because it sounded like good information. I just didn't know what it was like. So anyway, I think we've covered enough for today. I'll be back in about 45 minutes with the Dank Live. Dan plus Tank equals Dank. Again, please subscribe. Please participate wherever you can, and join us in Where We Go One We Go Love website, www.1wga.love. All right, I will catch you guys later. We'll be back, as I said, very shortly.